Welcome to Backlash Podcast. Mike Bedenbow, Leroy, Lee. What's happening, man?
Not much, man. How are you guys?
Good, good.
Morning.
Going on, Leroy?
Pretty good.
All right, so Leroy, tell us a little bit about the history of, or how you started in the bike business.
Oh, okay. So almost 20 years ago, totally got into it by accident. I was hired by a lady down in Miami to run her inventory system for her bike shop. So Max Cycle.
She trusted you?
Somehow, yeah. A friend of hers told her about, hey, this guy knows how to use computers. She comes to me and goes, hey, I have an inventory issue at my bike shop, family owned. I need someone to come in and correct it. 2 weeks later, I find $65,000 worth of missing inventory. Oh, I knew nothing more than a bike had handlebars and wheels, and I knew nothing about it. That's how I started 20 years ago.
Has a lot changed?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like 20 years ago, disc brakes were just coming out, full suspension, carbon stuff. Like I remember, was it Lance Armstrong, the first ever carbon road bike? You couldn't sell that thing.
Yeah.
No one wanted one.
Really?
Yeah, because carbon rode so differently. It wasn't aluminum, it wasn't steel, it wasn't titanium. And until Lance won the first ever Tour de France on a Trek bike, and I do this because it wasn't a Trek bike, it was painted to look like a Trek bike.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
There's people in the fishing industry that'll paint their fishing rods.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know.
They look like other rods.
They have so much confidence in one thing, but they sponsor another, and it's like...
I happened to get one time that was painted all white to look like a Veritas.
Yeah.
And as I was fishing, I'm like, this doesn't feel like a Veritas, and you could scratch the paint off and notice it.
Yeah. And of course, this is before social media, so, he was on a titanium frame bicycle that was painted to look like the rest of the team bikes.
Good, nice.
And then all of a sudden,
Lightspeed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Lightspeed. Yeah, and all of a sudden we start selling Trek road bikes, and I kind of got into this by a little bit of passion and being a person that likes communicating, talking with people, and went to school for education. And 20 years later, now own my own bike shop for I think be 9 years this October.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you got a great shop.
I appreciate it. Thank
you
you.
got a wide variety of stuff.
Yep.
Mike and I go in there all the time and check out the store.
Well, I wanted something that people can come hang out and have a good time.
Yeah, and you're always, he's always up to date with stuff.
Big
like,
time.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I've known Leroy for 17, 18 years. I mean, when he worked at Bent's, it was funny. I'd go there, and that's who I always asked. You remember that? I mean, I'd always say, "Is Leroy around there?" No, all right, I'll come back in a little while. And and I mean, I'd been buying bikes for my kids, road bikes, and for myself. I mean, stuff like that for a long, long time. And I mean, whenever he decided, "Hey, I'm getting in the business," I mean, it was just a natural.
Yeah, and I wanted something that people didn't feel like. I joked the other day, and I thought about it. It's like I'm kind of like the Cheers of the bike world. Like we know everyone that comes in.
Yeah.
If we don't pick on you at the shop, we don't know you that well, or we want everyone just to have this comfortable experience that we're not being this pretentious, trying to sell you something you don't need.
Exactly.
So, and that's where I love where my shop is at with that stuff. I'd rather have 1 or 2 awesome sales a week, and then those people be happy than me focusing on trying to sell 20, 25 bikes just to get stuff out there.
Right.
So.
Well, and road bikes have been popular for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm for myself, I started getting into the mountain biking probably 4 years ago. But is that when the craze really started with that, or has it been like that for?
Carter Road really helped our locally.
Yeah.
Locally, having Carter Road and Alify, I would say.
Yeah, and I think we had one trail called the Toe.
Yep.
Many years ago, and unfortunately we lost that.
Incredible trail. You would have not liked that.
Really?
Well, it stood for the Trail of Experience.
Yeah,
That's what the toe stood for. Not because you were going to lose the toe. It was stood for Trail of Experience because it was literally 9 miles of just constant
work.
Go. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. From the moment you rolled out off your bike in that parking lot, it was just go the whole time.
It was one of those 9 miles where you feel like you've rode 18 miles.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
And
so it's kind of like me riding with you when we go out there.
In the parking lot.
Let me tell you something. He's crazy.
Oh, he's a beast. Yeah,
he's a beast out there.
Yeah. No, I'll see him on his road bike, on his tri bike, and I'm like, he's like dripping sweat, and I'm like, how long you been out here? Oh, hours. I'm just going. I'm like, okay, I've been out here for like 10 minutes. Your intensity level, bring it down a notch. Yeah. You're espresso, I'm decaf.
Exactly. Right now. I'm like, damn, man. So we're riding around, and he goes, I'm gonna just hit this trail real quick. I'm like, dude, I can't do it. He's like, I'll be right back. He comes back, and he's dirty from head to toe. He's got a broken rib, and he's like, let's go. And I'm like,
I got more.
I got more. But I guess, Mike, you get so, intense and into it that you just.
Well, I mean, it's a
you can't
blast.
stop.
It's a great sport. I mean, by cycling in general, and one of the things I put on my talking points here is just the growth of cycling in our area has been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has. I mean, we went from, I've pretty much lived in Lakeland my entire life. I went to Cumbia. I mean, I lived here forever, and I mean, you had 2 bike shops really, and now we're up to 5, I believe.
5 in the Lakeland area.
In the Lakeland area,
Wow.
and but you got, I mean, Carter Road, I think, really started coming around and putting the mountain biking on there. Road biking's always been pretty big, but now it's even bigger. But you got Fort Fraser, you got the Van Fleet Trail, which is awesome.
Alpha.
Circle Bar.
So
For the new stuff that's coming, like, when you ask, like, how's biking changed? I mean, when I started 20 years ago, you had a mountain bike, a cruiser bike, a hybrid, and a road bike, and that's all you had. Now we have, like at our shop, like you have gravel bikes, you have this type of mountain bike, and mountain biking alone, there's 4 different styles of mountain bike, not counting just your recreational stuff. So, this whole realm of what cycling is, the catalog has just exploded.
Yeah.
So,
But it seems like in the past 2 years, it has just, like you said, exploded with people just going out and biking and now you see kids and their mom and dad,
which is great.
Yeah.
It gets people outside. And
Exactly.
that's what me and you are outside people. That's why we do this podcast is for outside
Exactly.
stuff, and that's why cycling. To me, that's the best part about it, and it's low impact on your body.
Right.
Until you reckon, a few times. But,
until you have a few boo-boos.
But as far as your joints and your feet and stuff like that, I mean, that's the
because I can't run. That's how I got into mountain biking is doing that. And a buddy of mine, Kurt Hill, he's like, man, come on, let's ride. So I went out there on a freaking Walmart bike, and he's like, dude, how was it? I said, dude, this thing weighs a ton. He's like, try mine. I rode his. I'm like, I gotta get a good one.
makes
You know what I mean? Because there's a world of difference. You go from Walmart to the bikes you have, a Specialized or anything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing how much further and faster you can go with that bike.
Well, and I think also mountain bike is booming because you look at the Ridge Riders, you look at the Swamp Club, you look at Oomba up in Ocala. These clubs are really taking more passion and building trails that are more beginner oriented to the advanced stuff out there. Like at Carter Road, you can be the weekend warrior on the Walmart bike starting, and then you can have the guys that are out there on the bikes that are designed for jumping 20-foot gaps. I mean, like the new trail they built up there, super progressive, double black diamond, wooden features, jumps, ramps, step down rollers. But then they also built it to have, for the intermediate rider to kind of progress to get into that stuff.
Right.
So, I think that's going to help a lot with growing it even more.
Well, I got thrown in it. I rode a day ride one time, and then we went night at, what's the one?
Boyette?
Yeah. Boyette, when that was open at night, and we rode at night, and we had the 3 or 4 headlights on that thing, but it was a blast at night.
It's a whole different
It is
deal.
because you take those trails and you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So you're just looking, you're like, oh crap, here it comes, and you go down that hill, So it's fun, but in general, we kind of get up and go on Sunday mornings and run out to Alpha or wherever and start riding. It is a blast. It's great exercise. I just looked up on the internet, number 1 adult
Watch it.
that kills adults is heart disease. So exercise is super, super important. How much you eat, and Mike, you're the epitome of what you're doing because you do triathlons, you do all that stuff.
I mean, to me, especially, I just turned 50 this year, and for me, it's low impact, and I love swimming too. The running part of a triathlon is just paying the price for the other 2 parts I like so much. So the running part is just penance. But I mean, it does the healthy lifestyle in general. I think people need to start seeing the benefits of that, the health benefits and everything like that. I mean, it really makes it where if you get into the habit of doing that stuff, that's a problem. A lot of people do it one time and they're like, oh, that was okay. Just go out there for 2 or 3 weeks and ride. And it's so funny. A lot of people are like, man, how can you go out there and ride 30, 40, 50 miles, whatever it is? I didn't start doing that.
Right. Yeah, we all started at
none of
5
us all start.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to start somewhere. I mean, if you go out and do 4 miles, go out and do 3 miles, and you don't have to go 24 miles an hour. Go, 12 miles an hour. I mean, so many people want to start at the top instead of working their way up. Just go out there and have fun with it. That's the key.
Yeah, or find a group like like we do Thursday nights. Like when you talked about the night rides. So like right now, every Thursday from now until it gets dark, and we'll still ride in the dark from the bike shop. And it's
really?
Yeah. So at 6:10 we roll out from the shop and it's the ABC ride. So everyone rides down from the parking lot of the shop, rides the mile down to the bike park. We split up in the ABCs, so the fast guys, the intermediate guys, and the beginner people, and then we go out there and ride. And the beginner people is great because you have us at the shop or some of the racers that'll ride back with that group and kind of help those people along. And we know you may only be able to do 2 or 3 miles of the trail now, but the goal is every week come out and push yourself more. Push yourself more, push yourself more. And if you're treating people and helping them improve and get more into it, then they're going to get more involved and get sucked into it. So
what people don't realize when you start riding and you see these experts and just running these trails at such a high speed, it actually helps you. Run up those hills. You're not expending that much energy because you're already going at a fast speed. Yeah. So by doing that, fast is good.
Right. Fast is safer. Yep. My worst crashes are at lower speeds.
Big time.
Yeah.
But I say that, and you say that, but first acclimate to yourself to that trail.
You got to kind of go out there and throw your ego aside a little bit.
Yeah.
And I try. It's funny when I ride with new people. That's the first thing I tell them, especially if I know they're not experienced riders. I'm like, look, dude, just do what you feel comfortable with.
Right.
Just because I do it, and I've been riding a mountain bike since I was in college, doesn't mean you should do it.
Right.
So do what you feel comfortable with, and don't feel like you're not less of a rider. You will be. I mean, just so. I mean, that's the thing. People you got to keep your ego in check out there, or you can get
over your head real quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I've had my spills out there, and you just have to be careful.
You ain't wrecking, you're not riding.
Right.
Exactly. That's what everybody says.
If you're not putting your head into a tree, no. So and that's the fun part too. Between Lakeland to Ocala, there's 8-9 places to ride within an hour and a half. You can get in a car and go in any direction and find someplace awesome to ride.
Yeah. Do you think that this sport has grown like this because of the mountain biking we see on TV, where they just go down these massive hills or they just see the trails that are really super cool? I've seen some of these trails up north where they're in the middle of these hardwood pines and they're just going through there at 50 miles. It seems like 50 miles an hour, what I mean?
And I think the internet, you look at a bike company like Scott that we work with, they spend a lot of their advertising budget not on commercializing in catalogs or magazines. They spend a lot of time on YouTube and showing their athletes riding those trails that you're talking about and being out in Whistler or being out in North Carolina. And I think a lot of that is exposing a lot more people to what else is out there. And we have groups of people that meet a couple times a year and they'll go to North Carolina or Utah or so now they're traveling and doing that stuff. So it's only growing the sport more and more so for those people.
One thing you touched on a second ago I want to talk about because it's kind of the new thing in cycling that honestly I'm thinking of getting into, but is the gravel bike thing.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
What is gravel bike first?
So a gravel bike is a newer segment that came out of a new trend. So you have in the road bike realm, you have a road bike and a triathlon bike, and you had what's called a cyclocross bike. And a cyclocross race was like kind of a short crit, 1 mile in a loop. Well, then they want to explore and expand that out. So gravel road is really big out in the Midwest. So for the last 5 years for myself, I've been part of a friend of mine's journey of what's called the Dirty Kittens 200. It's a 200-mile gravel road challenge. So 203 miles. He is literally riding from Emporia, Kansas, throughout all the Flint Hills, back to Emporia, Kansas.
Wow.
And in that 203 miles, he only gets to see me twice.
Wow.
And I'm hired by him and his friends with this group called the Chamois Butter, which is a product that we sell at the shop. And I watch over them. And gravel road is just this new trend for people that, for entry-level road cyclists. We're seeing entry-level road bikes come offline and gravel road pick up because the price point's gotten better in that entry-level $700, $900.
It's a little bit thicker tires.
Yeah, thicker tires, so it's smoother on the sidewalks, smoother in your neighborhood rides. But something like, say, from here, you can ride the Fort Fraser Trail, and then you have that new inlet that takes you out to the Circle Bar Preserve. And you can ride all 7-8 miles of those dirt roads because the tire's fatter, the handlebars are...
Now, you're saying fatter on the mountain bike side or the
road bike side?
Road side, okay.
Yeah, so your traditional road bike tire is like a 1/4 inch wide.
Okay.
These tires are now like 1.25 inches wide.
So it's in between.
It's in between, yeah. Okay. So the bad joke at the bike shop, a road bike and a mountain bike went on a date on a Friday, and this is their spawn child. So yeah, because even that, a lot of like my new gravel bike that I ride from one of our manufacturers, Cortec, it's got SRAM componentry, which is all from the mountain bike side. But then it's got the road bike handlebars and the road bike carbon frame and the aero kind of wheel.
Are they any suspension on that, or is it all rigid?
No, well, and It's coming.
Yep.
So you're seeing some manufacturers like, should we put front suspension forks on? Like I know Salsa's tackled it with front suspension forks. There's a couple manufacturers are trying to add rear suspension to it, and then you have companies like Niner that we work with. They're actually this September releasing the first ever full suspension gravel bike, and they've prototyped it. Like they actually went to the extreme of actually 3D printing a whole bicycle.
Oh wow!
So and 3D printed this whole thing, so they actually had a physical. How can we test it and see how it looks? How's it going to operate before they put it out in production? They've had it out for like 18 months, 2 years now, and gone out and showed customers and got such a positive feedback that now this September, October will be the official release of what's called the MCR. So it stands for the Magic Carpet Ride. And you'll be so Niner always has monikers with their names. So, but yeah, you'll have a flip of a switch of a handle where you can actually turn off front and rear suspension and ride it completely rigid. And then flip a switch and you have all your suspension back on again.
Nice.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of
It's
some
amazing
really
the
cool
technology that's changed.
Oh, it's between wireless shifting now and electronic shifting and carbon this.
Well,
And
You know what's
wireless shifting?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, wireless
Are you
shifting.
serious?
Yeah, all the
yeah.
high end stuff.
Yeah,
Oh
SRAM.
my
Well,
God.
and not even high end anymore.
Yep.
So SRAM, based out of Indianapolis, they released a Bluetooth shifter system for road bike, and just in the last 4 or 5 months released it for the mountain bike range. So now imagine your mountain bike only has two wires, which would be your brake levers, but nothing for your shifters.
Wow.
It's all pressed
And
on.
nothing for your drop.
Because even like a lot of the tri bikes now, when you're up in your tri, you literally you got
Yeah,
your thumb,
you
you
hit
just
your
up
thumb,
and
that's
up
it.
and
Or you're
down shift over
clicking a
that.
mouse button.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Crazy.
Yeah, it literally is a mouse button. You're clicking the whole time.
And let me tell you something, and you guys talk about the technology and the bike. Listen, you're not just talking about a regular Walmart bike. I mean, I've seen these bikes in the shops running around $8,000.
Yeah, I mean,
Or more.
or more.
more.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends on the bike brands. I mean, we're pretty happy to say at our shop, like, we can get someone a great quality bike for $600 to $1,000.
Yes.
But you want to start playing with all this technology, you could be in that $3,000 to $8,000 ballpark, and that's at the top end for us.
Well, when I did the research on the bikes, because that's what I like. I'll do if I'm getting into something, I'm going to do research.
Yeah, geek out.
So I went ahead and looked at the bikes, like say Walmart, Target, and all them, the higher end bikes, with the disc brakes and stuff. You spend a little bit more at your shop, and you're getting a quality bike.
Right, yeah.
Not to mention you're getting people that know what they're talking about.
And know what they're talking about.
That if
Wait,
they have an
wait,
issue,
we
you
gotta know what we're talking about?
Well, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
I've heard it. Yeah. I mean, well, and that's what a lot of
The
people.
bike gets fit to you.
Yeah, and that's exactly like what makes us different than the department store is that fit. Like at $600, that bike is made in 5 different sizes because all 3 of us in here are all 3 different size people.
Exactly.
And then like with our manufacturers that I can contest to, like we're also different size people, so our suspension on the front of our bicycles is actually weighted per that size of the rider that's buying that bicycle.
Right.
So that's going to be a huge thing. Also, there's no reason that someone should be riding at 200 pounds riding a fork designed for a 150-pound rider. Yeah.
Well, the worst thing you can happen is buy something that you're not familiar with, and then be out in the field and it go wrong, or you have a bad experience, and then all of a sudden you're
it
done.
ruins your
Right.
whole,
Yeah,
ruins your
yeah,
whole
yeah,
perspective
It
on
does.
it.
It really does.
We had a couple employees here that went out, man and wife, wanted to ride. And it was when the Fort Fraser Trail here got built, and they're like, hey, we want to start riding our bikes. And I'm like, hey, awesome. If anything I can do, let me know. And they come back in, their butt's sore, their thighs are hurting.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, we just our bikes. And I said, well, bring them up here. Their seats are slammed onto the frame.
Because they want to put their feet to the
Yeah,
ground.
so when they're riding, their knees are coming up past their chin, and I'm like, your seat's only about a foot low. One of them, the stem was backwards. The stem was turned around. And I'm like, where did y'all get? And then, I'm not going to throw, it was a department store, obviously. And I'm like, this is why you don't buy that stuff. So I spent literally an hour each, trying to help them turn the stem around, obviously, which made it fit much better.
Right,
so and the handling was a little funky with that stem backwards. But I mean, stuff like that is what makes it so important. We have guys like Leroy and his place there that is just awesome. So.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I've saw people on the trail that like their forks run backwards. And and I'm like, you guys didn't notice that? It's like, oh, I just thought that was the way it's supposed to be. I'm like, but it says front, and it's facing you. So yeah, that could be a problem. So
yeah, so it is important that you go into a place like your shop and just talk to you and get the right fit. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
The quality
the
difference.
quality
Right.
difference is
Yeah.
amazing.
Right. And we're one of those shops too. It's like we know that we can't beat everything that's on the internet, and we always tell people, like, if you have something that you see, bring it in. We'll educate you if that's a good or bad buy, and if it's something that you're going to ride, we'll be honest with you. Yeah, ride that for the next year and a half, 2 years, and then come back to us, and then we'll, you can develop on that bike and then look for something better.
Right.
Yeah, because people still get sticker shock at $500-$600, and we get that.
But you know what? Like I said, if they do the research and
Yeah.
look, you spend just a little bit more money,
Yeah.
and you're getting something
yeah.
that's going to be more valuable,
Yeah.
and you're going to have a quality piece of equipment that's going to last.
Well, and even like safety, like hydraulic disc brakes now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a set of hydraulic disc brakes for under $100 for a bike now. And that's a huge advancement on these bicycles that improve your braking and control of the bike, and it's a lot safer also.
It's funny now on road bikes. Before road bikes, where it was disc brakes were taboo.
Yeah,
Everybody's,
yeah,
no disc brakes. But now you starting to. I watch the Tour. I'm a huge Tour geek, and I watch the Tour de France, and it's amazing how many of those teams have switched.
Well,
And-
Really?
It's only been half and half though, because we
Yep.
had this discussion the other day at the bike
Yep.
shop.
But why do they do that?
Well, so the idea for disc brakes on road bikes is the safety side.
Yep.
The hard problem, though, is you have so many bike manufacturers that don't work in the same congruent shape. So, like, hub spacing and disc brake size and rotor size and all that stuff, no one has worked on the same symbiotic, let's all keep it the same. So, like, we had the discussion during the Tour de France when Julian Alaphilippe was chasing the guys down the
Oh,
mountain.
downhill. His brakes were priceless.
Oh, yeah, and it showed because he was in a group of 8 guys, but he got dropped before the top of the climb. He caught all 7 guys
On
in
the
front
descent.
on the descent because he has disc brakes. Everyone else was still on rim brakes. They have to slow down so much sooner going into a corner.
Really?
And if you watch the video, this dude is like literally
Slamming them.
Yeah, Ferrari styling, drifting into a corner.
Yep.
He passes everybody.
Yep. But that was one of the reasons everybody. But now the disc brakes have gotten lighter.
Yeah.
They've gotten.
Yeah.
Where they and when they first come out, they didn't work as good as they do now.
No. The modulation's a big
Yeah.
thing. Like we had that talk. We literally had that discussion the other day too at the shop. Like first run of disc brakes, they were too powerful.
Yes.
And it scared people off,
Yep.
and that's why a lot of people backed off. So now we're getting into where now we have modulation, we have control, and then like back to the weight side. Like I know of 2 bikes that are coming out this year from both my manufacturers that we're gonna have sub 15-pound bicycles. With disc brakes, with carbon wheels, with all all this stuff on there, and that's not even legal to race.
No.
Because in the Tour de France, you have to have a legal weight of your bicycle.
Yeah, it's got to
Oh,
weigh
wow.
so much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 14.99 pounds.
Wow.
And trust me, nowadays with motors, and I'm sure we'll talk about that with the e-bike craze and everything else, like they have to X-ray their bicycles now.
Yep.
Good night.
Yeah, and
That's serious.
Yeah, well, and some of the Scott guys, there was a joke online, like their bikes were X-rays, but they were stuffing the seat post. They had to add metal to the seat post to make their bikes heavy enough to actually qualify for weigh-in.
Wow.
So
Crazy.
yeah, they thought it was a battery pack. They had to pull it out. And
Well,
like,
talking about technology and new products, when I came into your shop, let's talk about them damn spokes we were.
Oh, the polymer spokes. Yeah,
Yeah,
bird
those are
spokes.
amazing,
Yeah, yeah, those are pretty impressive. I'm on my 3rd ride on that. So
How was it?
phenomenal. Like really, like I'm not
You
just
can tell a
BSing.
difference.
I could tell you a difference.
You're not trying to sell
No,
it.
I'm not selling you on $600 spokes. So Bird Spokes is a group of guys out of Minnesota that wanted to find an advancement for the wheel. Wheels have always been stainless steel spokes or aluminum spokes, and it's square pegs, and this is all we have. So they wanted to find a way to make your bike ride better for you. So they have this polymer light material, they call it. It literally, you felt it. It feels like a fabric material.
fabric material.
Yeah.
I think when I felt it, it felt like braided fishing line.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, almost like
That's
a filament,
basically-
like
yeah.
a filament
Yeah.
that you guys would use. And so the idea is, it's kind of the bad joke. It's kind of Chinese torture finger thing.
Mm-hmm.
You insert this threaded piece in, and as you're pulling tension, and it takes 2 to 3 days to build one of these wheels.
Wow.
Because you have to build up the tension on everything.
Wow.
So one of their big selling features is it can take 200 grams off your wheels. That's not what I'm going to approach the sell anyone as an upsell. Okay, it saves you weight. Again, what you tackled, I need to lose weight. So,
I was not meaning that person.
no, it's okay. I got it.
That's
Yeah.
why you got him.
That's why I got it. Yeah. I was conceived fat. I got this. So, but no, I find after my 3 rides already on them, so several hours, the ride quality got better. Like I ride a Scott Spark RC. It is one of the lightest, fastest full suspension bikes I've ever been on. I mean, it's a 22-pound race rocket for off-road trails. but it hurts. It's rough. It's aggressive. Those wheels, just in the first couple rides, it was smoother. It was more comfortable. It was quiet.
The quiet part's the part I thought was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it really?
yeah, because you have metal and it's pounding up against each other as it's recoiling. Because every time you hit something, your spokes that's how your wheels come out of true. They're compressing everything else. These don't do that. So, and then like riding like say Ivy or Cruddy Buddy or Modelo, the trails that we know out there that are really rough, rooted type stuff, it's dead silent the whole time. Like, I turned my music off in my ears just to make sure I wasn't just like imagining it.
Yeah.
And then the impressive part was the way I guess I would want to put it as spool up. So at Carter Road, we know Snake Ridge.
Yep.
So I came out of the trail and kind of just slowly creeped up that long, aggressive climb. And you can actually feel the wheel kind of giving you more power and just getting tighter, and giving you that little bit more energy to kind of progress up that hill. And cornering, I mean, it was phenomenal also. So yeah, I mean, is the $600 there for the weight savings? If you're the weight weenie, sure.
But you know what? Think about it. It's not rocket science when it comes to that, because honestly, to make a spoke out of thread and think about the tension between, why didn't they come out this way earlier?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they've tried it in the past. Like so,
have they?
So there's a company called Spinergy way back in the days, and Spinergy did these carbon fiber tubes. And it was kind of an interesting idea. The problem was it was too spongy and too twisty. So
it
didn't have enough rigidity in it. It was great for like endurance riders or just like weekend warrior type stuff. They found a niche in the wheelchair world for those guys with their murder ball chairs and all the other stuff. But in the biking world, it didn't work. So these guys just took that step and like, well, what if we can use a better material that can do everything you want it to, but we can make it better. And I really think these guys out of Minnesota, they hit it out of the park.
Yeah, wow.
So
it's funny, and if you the way it's funny with bicycling to me, the bike really hasn't changed much in the last
20 years. Well, in 20 years,
when they nailed the bike design, once they got rid of that big tire on the front and the little on the back.
Yeah, I seen it on American Pickers.
It's
cool.
Yeah.
It's still a chain, tires, but what's changing rapidly, especially now, is just the advancement in materials. Like we were talking about carbon earlier. Yeah. I mean, now if you're not riding a carbon, everybody looks at you funny. Like, And even your mountain bikes and the suspension technology. And now you're talking, basically, like I said, it's almost like a Spectra braided, like me and braided fishing line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it feels like. It's just, it's so cool to watch a product that I use almost I ride probably 4 days a week. Take those progressions and change and go through that.
And even in your side of the world, like Scott and a couple other bike companies borrowed the Fox suspension from the Raptor. So that live wire technology where it has adaptive suspension, because like the Ford Raptor, I guess that has it built in to where it'll change. So now Scott has it on one of their bikes. I know several other bike companies have done it to theirs. They actually have the little box that sits on the frame. Yeah. And as you're riding, your suspension will adaptively change to how you're riding. So it's mind-boggling what we can do now. So
what's the deal on? I mean, it's funny because so much of this has got to be big on the e-bike thing, and for us being outdoorsmen, that's really gotten big in the last little bit.
Yeah. So e-bike for I think personally, I see there's several great usage for it. Yeah, we have to worry about the people that are cheating with it, and they have the throttles and stuff like that. I think for the outdoorsman person, for the fisherman, the hunter, because now we're getting less and less access unless we're biking out to stuff.
Right.
So
Green Swamp.
Green Swamp.
Perfect
Perfect example out there. You can't have anything that's gasoline powered or throttled, I think, in some respects. Like we work with Bosch Motors, German company. Of course, we know those guys for a long time. Bafang Motors, a company that you can take your existing bike that you ride now. I can take your bike that you have, you bring it into the shop. We pull your crank assembly out. We mount this Bafang motor to your crank assembly and mount the battery to either a rear rack or to the framing of your bicycle. And it's designed to have a pedal assist function. So, and that's kind of how we approached it. So, because you have throttle assist, so you can cheat.
Okay, but you still have your pedals.
But a lot of our systems, being that our manufacturers are from Europe, and Europe and Asia and Australia have kind of had these rules that you're not allowed to have a e-bike with a throttle. So a lot of ours are what they call pedal assist functions. So you have stages that you can get of assistance. So like this Bafang motor, if you're pedaling at 10 miles per hour and you have an assistance level 1, which is the lowest, you're pedaling at 10 all by yourself. But as soon as you get somewhere where you need the assistance, the motor kicks in and helps you. And once you get done with the assistance needed, the motor shuts itself out and still pedals like a normal bicycle.
What about on high?
On high, okay. So if you're pedaling, so
Let's get down to it.
we have one at the shop. So what you can do with this bike, with this Bosch motor that we're using on one of our bikes, it's called a Life, and it's designed as like the urban commute bike.
Okay.
So fun, cruise around, go get a drink at the coffee shop, whatever. Put it in turbo mode, we call that, or we call it ludicrous mode. Assistance level 4. You can be pedaling at 10 miles per hour, and you're doing 25.
What's your range, your mileage range on
So,
something like that?
so that's the wide gamut because that's the battleground right now. Is battery, and we kind of talked about
Same thing with hybrid cars.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a hybrid or energy car right now. It's the same thing we're going through.
Yeah.
You know, right now the technology is 300 to 400 miles on that, and we're
Right.
seeing that. But now, I mean, here before it, obviously, we got hybrids coming out where they're saying, hey, we might push it to 500 or 600.
600, yeah, which would be awesome.
So on
Yeah.
a charge, you
Yeah.
know. So same thing.
Yeah,
with
we're
those.
getting that a lot. So I know with all of our systems, if you're in the assistance levels of 1 and 2, you're getting anywhere between 50 to 60 miles.
Wow.
On assistance level. If you're going to ludicrous mode, we jokingly want to say, one of the road bikes that we were talking about today from Orbea. Orbea's probably got the slickest, cleanest e-bike you've ever seen. Like, you can't find the motor, you can't find the battery. It doesn't look like it has any of that on the bike at all. Like, if we put up a photo right now, it looks like a traditional carbon road bike or aluminum road bike.
Wow.
And you said
It's
the weight's down. You said like 27 pounds.
Yeah, so Orbea's got one. The top end model will be under 25 pounds for the whole bicycle, with the motor and the battery. But they have a range of, on full assistance mode, about 25 miles. But that's you pedaling at 10, 12 miles per hour and doing 25 with your buddies.
But
Gotcha.
you think about, though, most of the rides that we do. I mean, most of our rides.
25, 35 miles.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, almost everyone. I mean,
Well,
you're going to
you
get out there.
guys, I'm doing.
Well, I mean, but seriously, even most, I mean, your group rides,
Right.
we're usually doing 25, 35
Right.
miles right in that range. I mean, you'll break out every once in a while. I mean, if I'm doing a big training thing for an Ironman or for something big, then you're looking a farther ride.
Yeah,
But how many people, obviously, you're not going to go over that. I mean, 50, 60 miles is plenty for something
Right,
like
yeah.
that.
Well, and Orbea has that function on their game that we were talking about. They actually sell a water bottle battery that you drop into your bottle cage, and it will
Wow,
take you from
that's
60 miles to 80 to 90 miles.
But for us, Lee, as outdoors and hunters, I used to take my full suspension mountain
Yeah.
bike to the woods.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
one, it left no scent on the ground.
Right.
Yeah, so you could ride right down your shooting lane.
Yep.
Didn't worry about deer having to
Nothing.
smell you.
Right.
The amount of difference in noise between walking to your stand
Absolutely.
or riding your bike to your stand is night and day. Not to mention that walk takes 2/3 longer.
Right.
So, and maybe I'm paranoid about deer hunting, but I like parking my truck as far away from where I'm hunting as possible. I mean, I really try to have a low impact in the woods when I'm there. That bike allowed me to park farther away.
Right.
Take less energy to
Yeah.
get to the stand, and then I put a headlight on the front, so when it's dark and I'm coming back,
Yeah.
I mean it takes me half the time to get back to the truck so I can drink a beer.
Yeah.
I mean it was
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and so for us that e-bike thing,
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
It's huge because, like you said, Mike. Number one, you're getting in there quiet,
Right.
leaving no scent, and that's huge.
because that motor on these bikes don't make any noise.
No, yeah, it's completely silent. Yeah, and there's companies like like we said, the big battleground is battery, and I know there's companies like hunters are seeing them like Rad, these companies Rad Power or whoever they are online, but yeah, they don't have the distance. They only have like 10 to 15 miles before you even weigh down everything.
Yep.
And these bikes weigh 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah, they're big. They're
yeah,
heavy.
they're big and heavy. So like companies like Marin with their new kind of they got a backpacking hunting bike coming out called the Dale Trail.
Oh,
and you
cool.
can rack it, pack it, do everything else. It weighs 40 pounds.
Nice.
The one that we're working with Cora Tech for one of the local police departments here, they're getting a couple of them for their police officers to work parades and other festivals and stuff like that. I mean, it's it weighs 42 pounds for that bike. But yeah, the range is the biggest thing that you can try to push, and that's going to help you guys out on that because that's what people forget is like, oh, I got a 50-pound bike. Plus, I got my 200 pounds. Plus, I got
My equipment.
Yep. And everything else, and that starts wearing down that battery really quickly. So, one of our companies, Surly Bikes, I know you've probably heard about. They make one, and this is their name, not mine. They call it the Big Dummy, and it's a long extended rack bicycle. Like you can
Really?
you can literally, you can pedal him on the back of it, not pedaling. It's got a seat for him in the back, so you can take your buddy with it.
Really?
Yeah, and then or take your game back out with you. So there's a deck on the back that you can actually take your stuff out or your stands and everything else, or whatever you take out of the woods with you. So, I mean, there's so many options that are starting to open up to this range because there are people that want to be environmentally friendly. They want to make sure we're preserving not just stuff for the hunters, but for the people that want to enjoy the outdoors.
I think, I mean, I'm not 100% on my numbers here, but I think the West Unit Green Swamp is 33,000 acres, I believe. And it's funny, but I've read that most people hunt within a half a mile of a road or somewhere close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the beautiful thing with having something like this is you pull your map up or you go on Google Earth and think, and you can look at, okay, here's this bottom, or here's this oak hammock, or here's, where I think, obviously deer are going to be. That makes it much easier to get to.
And you don't think animals are going to adapt. I mean, I'm sure they go like, oh, we know what time of year it is. We need to stay way over here.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you drive your truck and you park it, just say on the road. If you have access to where you can do that sometimes in some of these places, somebody's going to see that, they're going to park right there with you and come right in the same area you're in, which I hate.
And I think that Green Swamp, you're not allowed to have a truck in there at all. I think even if you shoot a deer, you have to get with the game warden to help come.
You're right.
Help get it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they don't want any motorized. So, I know a lot of the guys I've heard that have success out there. I mean, as we know, the state record's from there. I mean, there's the Stovall bucks, the state record. That's a lot of the way they're getting out there is on bikes, and this opens up even more because not all of us hunters are in shape. I can promise you that.
And not just that, versus walking, because you and I, when we went to Kentucky, you know how bad that was. I mean, it was 30 degrees out, 20 degrees out, and we're walking, and you're sweating, dripping sweat. If you got a bike, you're pedaling, you're not using that much, you know what I mean? So it helps in that aspect as well.
Yeah, it would make a huge difference for the whole sport. I know up in Michigan where my family's from and they hunt up there. Yeah, that's becoming a bigger, because, they have, of course, the snowmobile trails, you're not allowed to have them past a certain point. So, now they're using, the big fat tire bikes that help get through the snow and everything else for their deer seasons up there now. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that if you're serious about hunting, this is another tool to use,
especially on our parks, on our park system. I mean, I went out one year and scouted Arbuckle. And looked around Arbuckle. I saw a lot of deer. I mean, Arbuckle's loaded with deer, Arbuckle management area, but that would have been another great place. I mean, that's a big park with a lot of deer. Just hard access. Right. I mean, it really is. So.
Well, I mean, you think about it, how many times have you seen more animals when we're walking or on a bike because it's so quiet?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? How many times have we've been out to these trails and seen deer and hogs and everything else because it's so quiet. You get a truck, they know. They're not stupid. They're acclimated to that noise to know what's going on. So by having a bike, I mean, you can't go wrong. And it's amazing how much the technology has come and how these companies have come out and built these bikes for hunters and fishermen.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all about being adaptive and how we can better your experience out there. So that's gonna be the cool part.
What about any upcoming trails here around the area? You know anything working or happening?
I know like new mountain bike trails.
Yeah, well, even gravel, mountain bike.
So in mountain bike range world, I know Alafia and Carter Road, there's really nothing big planned there other than I know there's talk of Bomboyette Park and Alafia finally have an official connector.
Nice.
Really? Yeah, which would be huge because right now if you were to ride from park to park, it's bad roads for 6-7 miles. Or you got to pack up and then pack up your gear and then go park somewhere else. And I think one of the big things is Alafia is fighting about if you park at Boyette, how do you pay to get in?
Right.
So I know there's that argument there. Gravel road stuff, that's growing daily. So yeah, back to that gravel road thing, it kind of covers a whole campus or a canvas of you can ride anywhere you want to. You can say right now, I'm talking with the city of Lakeland for the 7 wetlands path that they opened up at Lois Hart Park, and that's
how many miles is that?
7 miles from tip to tip from right now. So right now, 7 wetlands is city of Lakeland property with some agreement with Mosaic, and we would like to approach them to say for my bike shop, which I think would be a great idea. If we can get this to work out with the city of Lakeland. If we can get access to the 7 wetlands, and I know right now they don't want bikes because I think there's an embankment or something like that. They're just worried about not having enough space, so they may have to build something. But if we left that shop, Road 7 wetlands, which is hopefully soon will connect to the Panther Point Trail, which is out there off of Thornhill Road, and that's another 7-8 miles. So right there, if you went back and forth, that'll be almost 30 miles of dirt road.
Wow.
And then if that Panther Point Trail connects just south of the Circle Bar.
Yep.
And the Circle Bar I know is going to have a path going around the east side of the lake. So then it'll take you all the way up to the main entrance of the Circle Bar, and you have all that there. And if you were to ride all that and then backtrack back, there's going to be 40 miles of dirt roads.
I had heard at one time that they were actually thinking about connecting have a whole loop around Hancock, which would be awesome.
You know,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, that trail exists. It's not open. So
It does exist?
It can be poached. Yeah. So you know, there's been people that have been out there. I don't think it's officially open, and I've heard it's because of flood lines and gators, because we know that place is full of those things. Yeah. There's some big ones out there. So I think they're just trying to have safer path through.
Right.
So and they got to get it.
Is it going to
marked
hook
out,
up with the Fort Fraser?
So the talk that I've heard, rumor mills go, is that as it comes around Lake Hancock, as it's going to come out somewhere by the Fort Fraser Trail.
Yeah.
So there may have to be another dirt road extension built
Right.
somewhere. Or it will come out on Hawthorne or what's that, old Hawthorne Road,
Right.
out there by
Yeah.
Curly Tails.
Yep.
Yeah. It probably just junction there, and they'll have to
Because
be a
that's
bike lane.
probably, 30 miles maybe around. I mean, that's a good day ride.
Oh, yeah, that's a-
You
that's
go-
a
I mean,
huge,
that's fun.
yeah.
You get a gravel bike like that. You
Yeah.
start off up, heck, we got people park here at Bartow Ford and ride. I mean,
Right,
yeah.
It's awesome with us because we get service customers come in and bring their bikes.
Right.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
then they
Yeah.
drop their car off for service because sometimes our quick lane's not necessarily quick. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still, they
Yeah,
get
you
30,
get,
40
you get
minutes.
busy, you got your
but
busy
if
days.
you get, an hour and a half wait, what better than bring your bicycle?
Yeah.
Hop out here, because literally it's across the street from us here at Bartow Ford or right in front of our dealership. I mean, that's where I train
Yeah.
almost daily.
Right.
And it's a great 15 miles.
Right.
There's very little road crossings, so there's no traffic.
Right.
I mean, so if they had a trail that circled the whole thing, what a great
Yeah,
deal that
and
would be.
you don't have to start on a gravel bike. I mean, you could take your mountain bike and ride
Yep.
this stuff. It's just gravel road just allows you to do this longer and further distances.
A little more
'Cause
efficient.
Yeah, a little bit more efficient because the gearing's different than what you have on your mountain
Yep.
bike. The position on the handlebars is different than what you have on your mountain bike, so you have more hand position. So
Do you have any at your shop?
yeah, we do. We work right now 5 manufacturers that do gravel bikes, starting
Nice.
from $700 to we can hit the sky's the limit on that
Wow,
thing.
wow.
So like I know one of the big ones this year. Coratech, one of our German companies, they have one at $990. It's already, we had the first 5 come in a week and a half ago, sold out already.
Wow.
So, and then Orbea, one of our companies from Spain, they've been around for 177 years. So here's a company that's still making bikes in Spain.
That's badass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool right there. I mean, handmade in Spain. To the point this year on their gravel bike, you can sit down with me. That big TV we put in at the shop is actually an art studio. So you can sit down with me and we can custom paint your bike for free
Oh man, that's cool.
to the way you want it to be. That no one
What's
else
the
have.
price range on those?
This year, 2,700. But that's a full carbon bike. So I mean, and you look at other stuff that's out there, be it like our manufacturers. That's about the going rate, about $2,500 to $2,700 for a carbon bike. But here's $2,700 that you can sit down and custom make it yours.
Yeah.
That no one will have. Unless someone did in 1.9 million ways you can do it.
Yeah.
So the likelihood is slim.
So we did, we're talking about the bikes and everything else, and then another one I want to touch on is the disc golf.
What? This sport?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the newest thing?
The
newest
newest thing
in
that,
Polk County.
Yeah.
In Polk County.
Yeah. Funny thing with that, it's been around forever. I think us Polk County people just found out.
Yeah, it's
about
like, you take this thing and throw it?
Yeah. And it goes, how far?
What? It's not a frisbee?
Yeah.
No, it's been around since the 70s.
Yep.
And it kind of came from people taking a frisbee and going, hey, what if we made a target?
Yep.
And and this sport is huge. Like, if you great app called UDisc, you pull up that app on your phone right now and go within 50 miles. There's 20 places to play.
And go and look at the state of Florida. There's hundreds.
Well, this is the
They're
crazy,
free.
Yeah, this
Right.
is the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I just found out about this because of you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And YouTube and all this stuff on social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. And Mike's like, we've been playing this forever. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
It's, a funny story with that real quick is my kids, my daughter's 25 and her husband, for Christmas they wanted a disc golf set. I'm like, what? So my daughter gets one. One day they come over to the house. I'm like, what are y'all doing? They're like, oh, we're going to Carter Road to play, or Loyce Harp. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've been riding there so long. It's Carter Road.
Old Lakeland.
Yes.
Lakeland.
So, they said we're going to play disc golf. I'm like, what a bunch of nerds. And so then next thing I know, my son's going with them. And he comes back and tells me, because me and him are really similar, and everybody on these podcasts heard me talking about him, and we fish together and hunt together and everything. But he's like, Dad, I think you'd like this.
Well, they're mirror image of each other too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like mini me. But it was fun. I mean, it really was. It was frustrating because I'm one of these guys that, I don't like not being at least
competitive
at anything.
No.
And
hate to lose.
So it was fun to actually get out there and try something totally different. And it's something, what I like the best about it is the whole family can play. I mean, my daughter plays, my wife comes out there and has the best around.
You had me at, we take some beer with us.
Yes.
That you had me right there. I'm like, this is the sport I've been missing.
Yeah. My disc bag actually has a cooler built in it. It holds 12 discs and 6 beers.
Yeah. I usually have a cup of some mixed drink outside of out of my normal barley beverage. But yeah, and it's great because you can get into it for inexpensive. Like we sell it at the shop now. We've kind of embraced it because it has shown up at Lois Hart Park, and I've known about it for 5 years because weirdly enough, because of gravel riding, because of Dirty Kansas. And Emporia is like
huge.
It's the mecca of disc golf.
Yes,
like
it is.
in 1 week, they have this thing called the Glass Blowing Championship. 3,000 disc golfers show up.
Wow.
The biggest tournament.
It's monsters.
It's huge. This little tiny town, bigger than Bartow, smaller than Lakeland, has 3,000 disc golfers show up, and a lot of these people are spectators, and it's great for the community.
Yep.
And it's just like in 3 weeks after this disc golf tournament's over, 3,000 cyclists show up. So in 1 month, this little town probably covers all the revenue in 1 month. So, but I looked at it and I'm like, all right, I thought it was kind of interesting when I saw it out there, and then of course I came to the park and a couple of the disc golf guys came in and kind of asked me about like being the lost and found because you put these things are $9 to $25.
Oh yeah,
you can lose them.
You can lose them. I did.
And it's crazy because it's a frisbee. How the frick do you lose a frisbee?
Perfect example on Saturday. Got overzealous and it's called grip lock, and I just held too long and I let it go and it flew right over about 400 feet into the lake. Never came back. I ain't getting it back either. No. It's in that gator-infested lake at Carter Road.
I had some guy. It's funny because what you have to do is you take the bottom of your disc and you put your phone number and I put my initials and my phone number, and if you find one, you just text them and say, hey, I found your disc. You drop it off at Leroy's and you go get it. Because the other day I get this. I lost one like 2 weeks ago. And I lost like 5 2 weeks ago. But this particular one, I throw, same as you, thought, oh man, I'm going to throw this great shot, and it didn't work out as great as I anticipated. And was in the water, and it's funny, the guy texted me, I said, were you fishing or playing disc golf? Because I'm pretty sure mine was way out there in the water, but it happened to make it back close enough to the bank where they
So, and
But you were telling me that some of these places, these homeless people will...
Oh, yeah. Cliff Stevens, so Clearwater has Pinellas County in total. I think they have like 8 or 9 courses throughout Pinellas County. And so Cliff Stevens and Old Coachman Park are within a mile of each other. And they have I'm trying to think what they call them exactly, but they're homeless guys that patrol the waters and the canals. Yeah. And I think about
risk their lives.
6-8 months ago, one guy did get bit. I think his name was Tank, possibly, is what someone was telling me the story. I'm like, this is great. But we were playing Cliff Stevens a few weeks ago, and both me and one of my friends thought we had the perfect shot, and mine skipped off in the canal, and his never even turned, just went right into the canal. And there's this guy that I've seen several times before, and I said, hey, did you find this disc or another disc? And because we put our name on it, and we just gave the guy like $5. That disc that I threw was $19. So for me to pay $5 to get it back. Yeah, it's huge. And it's one of my favorite discs. And
once you find one you like, stick with it.
So not only are you doing a sport that it's helping your family and you're helping the
helping the community. Come
on, are you kidding me?
Well, that's awesome. Right. Well, and the local disc golf shop in Clearwater, what they do is so that guy goes in and they pay him for each disc. Like they give him a couple bucks per disc. And the local, I think it's Local Route is the local shop down there. So my D4 that I lost, my Prodigy, love that disc, one of my favorites. They put up this thing called the bin finds, and my name happened to show up. My friend sent me a message. He said, hey, I saw it on Facebook. I'll pick it up for you. And they charge like a $4 finder fee because they gave that guy a couple bucks for bringing it in. Yeah. They're helping out the source, and we're helping out, out everyone else. So, that guy, so the funny part of that story, we see him at Curtis or Stevens, and then 2 hours later we see him at the next disc golf course over at Old Coachman. He's got a stack. He's probably got
he's snorkeling.
No, he does. He's got a mask, dude. It's like Scuba Steve, So he's in there, and he was at Coachman, and he's got a stack.
I need that guy at Carter on hole number 11.
Well, no one's going in that water, dude. Have you seen the dinosaurs in that thing?
I'm not going in.
I'm not going in.
But maybe he will.
Yeah, maybe he will.
Because I've got $100 out on off 11.
I'm at least $30 in. But yeah, but
Between me and my son, I think we got 9.
Yeah, and he was over at Coach. Was like, dude, you find my disc? No, I haven't found it yet. I'll go back later. But he literally had 25 discs.
He's
so,
crazy.
So you figure if that shop's giving him $2 a disc,
Yeah.
he's got $50 right there.
Yep.
I mean, he's banking.
And there's a lot of us throw them in the water.
Yeah, well, especially at Cliff Stevens. I mean, because you have a canal system, and one of the holes out there is called hole number 16. It's crazy. Like there's literally an island that you can play, but then you have to walk like a half a mile.
Number 10 there can be tricky if you play the back tees there over the water.
Well, if you're going to be ballsy, yeah. I like to play to the. I'll play to the right. I'll play to the right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's when I take my DX material there, the $8 disc.
Yeah, the $8 disc.
If I lose this one, it's not going to hurt so bad.
Yeah. I won't cry too much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So listen. So for our viewers and listeners, real quick, explain the object of it. I know it's pretty simple, but just explain the whole object of disc golf and what you have and what you're doing.
So disc golf is pretty much just like the rules of golf. It's the same par 3s, par 4s, par 5s. It's just like that. So you play where your disc lies, just like where you play where your ball lies.
Right.
But what's different is where if your disc landed here, you cannot step past in your throw. So if my marker's right here, and I got to throw, and you
got to stay behind that line.
You got to stay behind that line, pretty much. Yeah. And then, you have, and I'm trying not to laugh because there's that many. There are drivers and mid-range and putters, but then each one of them has subcategories. Like
they'll turn left, they'll turn right.
Right. That's important to know.
Well, and then there's like.
But is it? You're saying this, both of you.
Yeah.
Because I've never done it.
Yet.
But yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, does it really?
No, dude, because it gets addicting.
Does it really matter how you throw?
Oh yeah, there's throwing.
To do that.
Yeah, there's.
You can't just wing it.
Yeah, there's anhyzering, there's hyzering, so it's how you flip the disc before you let it go. How you hold it. There's backhand throwing. If you're right-handed, you're going to throw backhand or forehand throwing, and that makes the disc fly completely different. So traditionally, just in layman's term, your disc is designed to what they call turn, start to the right, and then fade back to the left. So, and that's if I throw it backhand.
That's the normal characteristics
right.
of a disc.
Now, if I backhand that disc, it'll then start left and then come to the right.
Yep.
Because you change the flight pattern of that disc.
And you reverse the spin.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So there's that. And then you have weights and plastics. Like we had this discussion because we both have this particular disc that we like from one of our manufacturers. And he's got it in 2 different plastics. Because that's the other thing, too. There's chemistry behind all this stuff, too. Like my favorite company, Prodigy, they make 7 different plastics for all their discs.
And what's weird is you can take, like me and him, we're talking about the same exact disc, and I've got 2 of them in 2 different materials.
They fly completely opposite.
So they basically, scientifically, if you're holding a beer in one hand, it's got to be enough weight in that one to be able to...
Yes.
Is that how it, or am I taking this all wrong?
No. I like that rule. Yeah. I like that rule. I'll go with that one. Yeah. So if this is a 180 gram disc, I got to have 180 grams in the can.
Beer to offset it.
Yeah, beer to
offset it. You need a tall boy.
Yeah, exactly. Tall boy. Yeah.
And of course, these courses are hard. You got hard courses that are just like in golf. You got obstacles and crap in the way.
And it's just, it's a cool afternoon. And and the thing, if you're going to go play. And nothing against ball golf, really, realistically. I mean, I played it a little. I'm pretty bad, actually. But it's $50 or $40 or whatever it is to go play. Yeah. I lose anywhere from 7 to 15 balls, so that's another 15, $20.
Right.
Yeah. And then it's 4 hours of your time.
Right.
This, you may lose one disc, $12, $8, $15, whatever, maybe 20 if you get a really nice one. It's an hour and a half usually, maybe 2 hours at the most.
2 hours at the most, if you're hunting disc.
And exactly, if you had your hunting time. And it's free almost everywhere you go play. There are a few pay courses, but it's like $4.
Right.
I mean, so they're very cheap.
But the amenities are different. Like at Carter Road, or Loyce Hart Park, it's also known as Hidden Oaks. Like it's free.
All right, so you got to correct me on this. Is it Carter Road or is it they change it?
So all right,
they did change it.
So they did change it. So the way that we joke with the bike shop, if you've been in Lakeland for more than 8 years, you know it as Carter Road.
Yes.
If you've been here for less than 8 years, you know it as Loyce Hart Park.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But the disc golf course is named something else.
Yes.
It's called Hidden Oaks.
Hidden Oaks.
But we still call it Carter Road or Loyce Hart Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still going to call it Carter Road because that's all I
still
knew
do.
about.
Yeah. When I moved to Polk County 18 years ago, it was Carter Road. Yeah. So, but Yeah, and that's and we get people that come to play from all around the state and all around. Like we had some guy from Iowa the other week that came out and played, and he was complimenting how hard our course is. It's all par 3.
If you can play good on our course, you can go almost anywhere and play competitive. I played 2 courses in Nashville and I actually scored very well because I'm like, these are wide open.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what we're not used to doing, too, because we only have 3 holes where you can really rifle a shot out.
Right.
Even though it's still par 3. Like, if you go to, like, one of my favorite places to play, which is in a very awkward part of Tampa, is 22nd Street. And you literally just pulling up, you're like, where the heck is this disc golf course? The first tee pad is 965 feet.
Wow.
From tee pad to the basket.
Which is a bomb.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And I can par that, and I'm happy.
Yep.
Yeah. I know guys that can eagle that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So which is bonkers.
Yep.
So taking
But
the
for
same
us,
disc,
playing here, we don't get many. I mean, our number 13 is 387. That's
that's the longest one.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, when I was in just like you said, it was. Playing Nashville was awesome because of the elevation.
Mm-hmm.
They would have you up on this tee box, and dude, you could throw one downhill, and you talk about bowing your chest up.
Really?
Yeah, you're like, oh, look what I did.
You know what I mean? Not to mention it was going downhill a half a mile.
Well, I did that at Emporia. I got to play some of those courses that they have the big championship at, and one of them was like this little island tee box built up and everything. And I'm like, man, I got to throw over this water, and I watched all these pros do it, and I'm taking their same shot, and I'm like, all right, just super nervous, and I took the shot, and I landed right underneath the island, and my buddy who doesn't play at all, he's like, are you going to try out for the pros? I'm like, no, because trust me, those guys are acing that crap. Yeah.
Wow.
Not I at all. So yeah,
it's a neat thing to do. Go in and
Yeah.
spend the afternoon. And like I said, the coolest. We're actually trying. We're in the process right now of trying to get more courses here in Polk County.
Yep.
I mean, we got 2 or 3 potentials in Lakeland.
Mm-hmm.
We got a potential in Bartow.
Yep.
So we're me and Leroy are 2 of the ones that are spearheading, trying to get this going.
Right.
Just because one, it's free. I mean, so there's a lot of people can enjoy it. I mean, that can't maybe afford to go.
Right. And there's not a lot of upkeep to it
No.
either. Yeah, because like for the club, and there is a club now for the one at Carter Road at Hidden Oaks. So that place, the club has kind of done a lot of the maintenance and the cutbacks, cutting the course down and everything else. Like Sean, one of the local guys, he does a great job manicuring that course.
Oh, it's in great shape every day.
Yeah.
So what is y'all's favorite course right now?
Well, you got to pick Carter because that's our backyard.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if I was leaving and going somewhere, I was telling Mike about this one today. Picnic Island's great.
Really?
Yeah, Picnic Island. Like if you guys know that from fishing areas, stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
Great spot. But they have a disc golf course out there, and it's challenging. That's what I love with it because they have a long pad, a short pad, and every hole has a B, and C placement. So every month that club changes it up.
Right.
So to give it a different feel on the course.
Every time.
Right.
Yeah.
There's Jonesville, which is in Gainesville, which is a dynamite course.
Yeah.
Actually, one that's close to us is in Clearmont. It's called Champions Point.
That's a new one. That's new.
Very good. And like Leroy said, the maintenance thing, they mow these parks anyway. So,
Right.
I mean, it's not like you go there and they're crazy. Most of these parks are mowed and kept up,
Right.
so it doesn't add a whole lot. But Champions Point, the only challenge with it, I mean, I think Carter Road is, 4,880 feet, something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Champions Point, if you play from the back, is 9,700 feet.
Right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and Picnic, if you play it like when we did that day, it was a mix of the A and the B, so they were kind of the short and the mid range. It was 8,800 steps.
Yeah, so it's...
I mean, do you guys have golf carts?
no.
No, no.
You get your exercise in.
You get your exercise. You have a backpack. That's been the big thing now. Is like, do you like? I use what's called a tournament bag, and which is like looks like a duffel bag almost, and your stuff.
Oh
is
yeah,
stacked.
I seen all your discs.
Yeah, that's right. I showed you. Yeah. And then now,
it's like this, and they're all discs.
Yeah.
And he's got his drivers.
Oh yeah,
his
I
mids,
dorked out. Yeah, it's like from the fade and this and that because it's just easy to grab. But now the new big thing is like the backpacks. Like the backpacks are the new big craze because you have guys like Paul Macbeth, the big name in disc golf, and he's this guy that kind of started the whole backpack instead of the carts and doing this stuff, and he picked up a huge contract. I mean, this sport is growing. He said a $3 million contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube and watch him. He's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, he throws it 600 feet. And
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Completely accurate.
Joe Mez Pro is a great YouTube channel to watch.
Wonderful YouTube channel.
Yeah, we watch it at the shop. He was like, "Oh, there's a disc golf channel." I'm like, "Yes, yes."
Wow.
Yeah,
And
these guys travel around. Yeah.
For people that just start, that I mean, and I'm a big mark on YouTube. I love YouTube. I used to Google stuff. Now I just YouTube it. They've got tons of good instructional videos.
Yeah.
From taken you from never really throwing
Right,
one.
right.
Because there's no sense in learning the wrong way.
Correct.
No.
So, and the throw you use is not a frisbee throw. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, it's a frisbee. It's not a frisbee. It's a disc. And so your throwing motion is not what a frisbee is. So do yourself the favor, spend an hour on YouTube. There's many that if you go on there and just put, hey, disc golf instructional videos will come up and show you the basics. And then once you get kind of the basic thing down, then you can work and progress from there.
Well, we go back to the point of if you're going to do something, go to somewhere like your place.
Yeah, definitely.
And get the information that you need. You know, I asked a lot of questions when I came in there, and you told me about all the different discs, and Mike did too, but you actually had the disc there where I could actually see and feel and kind of look at what I needed to have as a starter kit, because you have starter kits too.
Yeah. And, you know, we've kind of approached it too that we have 4 really great companies we work with. And again, you can be from $8 to $25 for a disc. But we're also one of those shops too. We'll tell customers, especially for Loyce Hart Park, you don't need a driver.
No.
You know, you need
most people who start don't need a driver.
Right, exactly. And a lot of these starter packs, like I was telling you about.
But a guy wants a driver.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Until it frustrates the heck out of you.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and then you're like, oh damn, and Leroy's right. Yeah. So, but no, but yeah, I mean, you can get 2 mid ranges and a putter, $30,
and you're good to go.
And you're good to go. Yeah. I mean, do you need a bag? No. Well, if you want to carry your drinks, you know, that helps. So, but, you know, so you can be $50, couple disc bag, you're into the sport. That's how easy it is. And then, yeah, like you're saying, videos are great, but the other thing that I've learned too now is, especially with like, you know, because we work with Innova and the Trilogy series, and we work with Prodigy and Discraft, watch their videos, because like what you're saying, each company has a different way they throw. Like I'm a big fan of the Prodigy stuff. 80% of my bag is Prodigy. He likes throwing the West Side stuff and some of the Innova stuff, and each company has a different throwing technique. And you watch these videos and you see how these guys will explain the difference of the flight patterns and what they do. So like one of the new ones that I just added was called an MX3. It's a kind of a mid-range and a driver kind of blended into one. And the first time I threw it, I was like, oh wait, that did not do what I thought.
Right.
So you go watch the video and you're like, oh, that's
Gotcha.
that little light bulb goes off. So yeah, and it will totally change everything you did. And then I used it Saturday the right way, and I'm like almost landed in the basket, you know, on hole 8 out there. So not 8, 7, sorry. So yeah, it's a great fun
It's just
sport.
a cool. It's just
Yeah.
and it's again, you know. The whole point of this podcast is outdoor stuff. I mean, that's
yeah.
what we do.
Oh, yeah.
And this is another way to enjoy a lot of our parks.
Exactly.
I mean, some like the one we're working on in Bartow, the land they're using now, that land has 0 use. They're literally don't use this land for anything.
No.
And now this gives it a reason for people to come to Bartow, or people to come to like I say, it's go to Hidden Oaks on a Saturday morning now. You won't get a parking spot if you don't get there early.
No.
I mean, so this is bringing a whole new set of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it, Mike. If you go to a movie, you're with just a family of 3, you're going to drop $75.
Yeah, easily.
You know, you go to bowling, same thing.
Thing,
Them
right.
things are expensive.
Right.
You know, and you go out and do something with the family like this.
It's outside.
Outside.
Yeah, no, my kids love it. Like my son, who's 7.5, he will carry my bag, and then he'll think he's Army guy, and he'll crawl underneath the trees and he'll dig for sticks and snakes and everything else.
Yeah.
He treats it like a whole afternoon. He doesn't like throwing, but he just wants to go spend time to do that stuff.
And like I said, my daughter plays, my son-in-law plays, my son plays. I've got a couple guys from here at work. They hear me talking about it. Next thing you know, they're out and they're at Leroy's buying discs.
Right. Oh, and then even like the other, like the club side of it, like we do, like every month we do a travel play. Like we'll travel to go try these different places. You know, get out of that little niche and go try. Like last month we went to Cliff Stevens and then went to Coachman. So we take out Sunday from 8 in the morning to like 2 in the afternoon, and we go play 2 places and make it a big fun afternoon to get people outside and try something different. Because Carter Road will make you a good, tough thrower. But when you
make
have
you
to
a straight thrower.
make you a straight thrower, but when you got to rifle something, like there's guys that come out like at Cliff Stevens, like one of the holes, like hole 10. I mean, that's a 400 something foot shot over a lake.
I've seen guys throw past the basket.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and it's one of those things again that is kind of like you said a minute ago. It's kind of addictive. You kind of when you it's just like regular ball golf. When you hit that good shot, dude, you're like,
you watch
man.
it.
I mean, it's the same thing with this. You throw that disc, and it's the beauty. Like you said, you almost hold number 8. Number 8's or 7.
7, yeah.
And I mean, you throw it up there, and you almost hold it, dude. Let me tell you, you're dying to get back there and try it again.
Yeah, exactly.
So do they have different like golf? You have the women's tee and
A lot of them-
medium tee.
A lot of them
and,
do big time.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Champions Point over there has a red tee. Actually, they have a red, white, and a green.
Do they?
So
Yeah.
some of them have different tee boxes, but then also some of them have different baskets. Where some of them have a long basket and a short.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
like Picnic has 3 placements for their baskets. Yeah, they'll do a blue and a red for the short and long, and then they'll do A, B, and C for their platinum.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's
because
cool.
it gives people that don't throw it as far still a
And
good
a
challenge,
chance.
but also a chance to be competitive
Right.
where it's
Yeah.
fun. And
Yeah.
then
And also better your skills because it's always kind of changing. That's
Yep.
one thing with Loyce because it's now kind of, we're only 1 year into this at Loyce Hart Park. They're talking about moving some of the baskets around. Yeah, Carter Road. Sorry, you got to make got to cover all the bases.
Yep.
So, but they're talking about moving some of the baskets around in placements because you got to mix
Yeah.
that challenge
Yeah.
up. So yeah.
So, location, where are you at?
We
People can
are,
find
so people to find us, we are at 6935 South Carter Road. We're in between Eaglebrook and Christina, the back way into Loyce Hart Park
Yep.
or to Mulberry. So,
Okay.
yeah, very awkward location, but we love it. So,
No, it's a great place.
yeah, but I mean, it's the cool thing about your shop is it's people come there for you. I mean, they come there to deal with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing. Is
I-
it's just always been that way.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
and everybody in the cycling community respects you. And
well,
knows
and
you,
that to me is the biggest compliment because that's
Yeah.
what I wanted. And the hardest thing this year was, with the Polk or Central Florida Best of the Best was, we got nominated again for customer service. And it's like, well, do I vote for Mike at Bartow Ford or do I vote for myself?
Hey, it's awesome. We're both in it.
Yeah. And it's like, to me, like, it's awesome to be in the bike shop. It's awesome now, I guess, because we do the disc golf stuff. We made it in for sporting goods, but just to get the customer service. I mean, I'm going against one of the best for customer service with Bartow Ford and Publix.
Publix. I mean, we're in big names.
Yeah.
For that. I mean, it's
yeah.
awesome. It's a
Yeah,
compliment.
absolutely.
for
Yeah,
us.
and here I am, this little tiny guy going up against these big guys,
Yeah.
and to me, I got goosebumps now just talking about it because that's all I wanted this place to be was give you that service, that customer service.
And let me tell you something, and that right nowadays is the very most important thing you can have for a business.
Yeah.
Because, I think that's been lost in the past 5 or 10 years, because of the fact that it just, I don't know, maybe
the
Yeah,
phone,
internet's
yeah,
changed.
the
Yeah,
internet's
yeah.
changing and people just don't have that customer service anymore. We're old school, so we kind of keep that kind of
But you got
reputation.
but the thing, especially like Leroy's shop and any of the places you feel like that, that's what keeps you coming back. I mean, it's something we've practiced here at Bartow Ford for 70 years is try to say, look, and it's the fact of the matter. You can buy a bicycle. There's how many
Oh, yeah.
bike shops are in Florida?
Yeah.
There's 113 Ford stores, so you can buy
Yeah.
a Ford at 113 different places. You got to separate yourself with the way you treat your customers, the way that if you have an issue, you treat your customers. Because I mean, unfortunately, in the automotive industry, cars break.
They
I mean,
break,
they're
yeah.
going.
Right.
I mean, it's just a fact.
Moving
No
parts
matter
and
what
pieces.
manufacturer you got, I mean, they all Lexuses. If you think, I mean, they all tear
Yeah.
up. So you got to be able to handle the customer and handle them professionally and make them feel like, hey, we want to make sure. And that's what he does there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So when you walk in, you feel like, hey, these guys, that's what they want to do. They
Yeah,
want to take
yeah,
care of
yeah.
us.
It's a hands-on approach that we treated.
That definitely is a very, very important aspect for a business, and you do a great job out there.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And, I mean, give a phone number if they want to.
Oh yeah, shop phone number is 863-937-9028. Leroy's Bikeworks at gmail.com is the shop email. Facebook, Instagram, we're huge on that. I mean, we're usually daily always posting
yeah.
something new that's coming in.
Always.
Yeah, so that's been a huge feed for us. Website's on the works, so yeah, that's coming. So new stuff there. So yeah.
Mike, you got anything else?
Man, I'm ready to go. I love
Me
it.
too. I'm
Got a lot
getting
of Ford
hungry.
stuff
I think I
out
want to do some disc golf right now.
Oh, I got
I'm
my.
gonna have to let's plan on it. One day, all 4 of us, we'll get Matt to go, and we'll go out there.
Yeah,
and
I got my bag in the car right now.
Yep.
So
Let's do it. Cool
All right.
deal. Well, I appreciate you guys listening to Backlash Podcast. You can go to backlashpodcast.com for more information, and check us out on YouTube as well.
thanks, guys.
See ya.
See you outdoors.
See ya.
What?